My name is Salazar. How you doing? Amy caught a bad cold right before flying down, and she decided to stay back in Maryland. And she's been homesick for the last 2 days. I've been reading my emails, but she sends her regard, and since she's not here, I can talk about her. I am the network administrator, system administrator, bubblegum puller router, the floppy drives, I mean, you name it. That's what I do for the Howard County Library. I asked Amy what she wanted me to get through from her perspective, and she was going to be the talker and I was going to be the driver. So I'm not a talker, but I'll do my best here. She said, just make sure that they understand she believes it's one of the best things we could have done, is go with Linux for our public access computers. And she picked the title. So the title's by Amy. Although I was in high school in the early 70s and I was experienced with the word groovy, I never used it. But I looked it up and it actually has a very nice meaning. Expressing strong approval is one of them. Absolutely. I'll say it. It's been groovy working with Groovix there. I did my Mike Myers thing there. Okay, I know I don't have a lot of time, and I could have created a real slick slideshow, but sorry, it's not there. I'm also going to have to kind of stand sideways here. I'm not a podium hugger, but I couldn't get the display working right, so I have to see what you're seeing. We're redesigning our webpage right now. Just thought I'd show you that since I'm in a group with web devs. I'd like to get your feedback on it, possibly. We also have an intranet that we're using Joomla for. It's going along pretty nice. We're hoping to unveil these soon. These have nothing to do with Groovix, but I wanted to show them off because I'm proud of our team. We're a library of like 500 staff, 300 public computers, about another 400 staff computers. And we have, in the Library Technology Services group, we really have like 4 worker bees, and I'm one of them. Yeah, Amy's the boss. She tells us what the biggest fire is to go put out. One of the things I like about Groovix, and I'll show you, but before I say that, when I was, my background is the military. I was in the Air Force for 20 years, a long time. And I cut my teeth on Solaris, Unix. It was my first love. I mean, how can you not love an operating system like that? This was like in 1993, 94. I was installing, I was a sysadmin trainee for NSA. And it was kind of cool installing an operating system, and while it's being installed, you could use it. You could use the little web browser it came with. You could, telnet into another box and work on that at the same time you're installing. If you don't have experience with Linux these days, live distros, live CDs, you really need to try it out. Groovix is by Open Sense Solutions. They're based in Green Bay. Yeah. And they'll give you a live CD of their kiosk. And just, I like to do just a test every now and then. And I asked Nicole if she would, pop it into her laptop over here and boot it up, and the wireless was working. She was online. She was in the public access computer mode, so she couldn't change anything like the font, which she has a nice 17-inch monitor. That was, I was just impressed how it detected everything. So Linux has come a long way. If you have any experience with it, you used to have to be a geek to even get it to work. Your display. Of course, I don't need a GUI. You know, I'm a command line junkie. I don't have to do it. I just type. I can type 60 words a minute, so I don't need. You know, it's slower for me to have to, you know, point and get to that X or, you know, drop down box. I can just type it faster. Plus, you can create scripts that, you know, do more than you can type. So, one of the things I like about Groovy, it's Linux. It's Ubuntu. We're Ubuntu. I don't know if I can say it, but we actually started about in 2003 using Linux. A friend of mine who we worked together in the Air Force, we got a job together at the library. We ended up working together in civilian life with the same kind of background. And we told the library, hey, you know, you got Windows NT on the floor there. We think we could do the same thing that you're doing with Linux. Let us give it a try. So we came up with Lumix. Because my name's Louis, his name's Mike. In the tradition of Linux-y kind of talk, we just put our names together and we created Lumix. And that was in 2003. We rolled it out. It was on the floor for 3 years on 200-some computers. We never once had a virus. We never once had any kind of hacking incident happen. We're very proud of that. But people started wanting more of their public access computer than just web browsing, and so they wanted, you know, they wanted instant messaging. They wanted to do documents, you know, all kinds of stuff. So we started developing. We started with Lumix 1, then Lumix 2, and Lumix 3 was going to be that, more of a desktop. But I did some Googling, public access kiosks, Linux, and I found Groovix. I called the guy up, and we arranged a deal. He came down, we tried out his product, and we loved it. It was what Lumix 3 was going to be. So we said, please, let us use this. So he charges us for a service contract. I mean, when we want any changes made to the interface, he does it for us. It's Ubuntu, so it's apt-get for any modifications or updates. It's great. Plus, I've created these scripts to poll all the computers on the floor. And our web dev created a MySQL PHP page that takes the output from my script and lets us know if anything's wrong out there on the web page. You can hover over, you know, want to see, okay, well, the IP for that is this. If there's any problems, like if it's not responding, it'll be red, so we know that those aren't up right now. This is the central branch in Howard County, Maryland. If you have any questions, feel free to interrupt me. I'm trying to keep track of the time because I know the time is close here. This is what Lumix 2 looked like. It was just a web browser. Basically, when you close the browser, a new one would come up, all the history would be erased, all the cookies, everything. We'd start out with a new .mozilla folder directory. There was no login, it was just a browser, because we were convinced by Dynex that their new public access catalog was going to be just a web browser. That's all you need. So, and for the public, yes, but for the staff, no. We found out. So we're very interested in everything for that reason. So, you know, how am I doing for time? Does somebody keep the track of time for me?
Yeah, got plenty. 11 minutes.
All right. As you can see, there's nothing here but a browser. There's no start button. Of course, if you had a document in your email, it would open Office Writer, so you can view your document. But that was pretty much it. You couldn't really change the document or save it. We didn't want people out there doing word processing. You know, we didn't have that many. Well, we did. It was about 200 computers at the time. We're up to 300 in 6 branches. Central has almost 100 computers by itself. We have, a lot of computers, a lot of floppy drives get bumped up. This is actually me on my desktop monitoring one of the public access computers. As you can see, the user is trying to learn JavaScript, and he's found a page that lets him, type Java commands and execute them. There's a history between this guy and me. It goes all the way back to 2002. I call him Hacker John. And the first time I confronted him, he threatened to F me up. And I took him seriously. And he's gone to jail for beating up police officers. So it gives you some idea. But he loves to hack. He loves to write code. I feel comfortable letting him do that, because I know all he can do is Java. He's tried to look up the Etsy password. He tried to click on the shadow file, but nothing happens. I mean, he can see it, but he can't get to it. It kind of frustrates him. Plus, I can watch it, and that's kind of fun. Sometimes when I'm bored, I'll say, "Hey, what's Hacker John doing?" I'm not kidding. He sits out there 10 hours a day sometimes on the same computer. We don't limit people. We have plenty of computers. But he'll sit there for 10 hours straight. And he writes some great stuff. I mean, he's really like a genius. So, as you can see, he's got like 5 browsers open. Some of them are how-to Java sites. And I think he's progressed. This was like 6 months ago. He's progressed now to the Bean Shell. He does Bean Shell work. It's amazing. I have a little script that we have a section of computers that I call the playpen, because that's where people go to play. It's kind of out of the way. There's no librarians around, and so a lot of teenagers go play RuneScape, do their instant messaging, and the guys go look for wives or whatever. But the first time I showed somebody in the library that we can kind of monitor people and send them a little message, and they really love that aspect. And it's all, we didn't buy anything to do that. Unix is designed that way to be a network system. I can actually work on a pack from my desk, and with SSH, extunneling, it's just amazing what you can do. So the first time I showed somebody, of course they were looking at pornography, and he goes, "Whoa, he didn't want to see that." But I said, "Yeah, you can send them a little message. We can even, tell them that your session is going to be terminated now, and we can do that for them without any third-party stuff. All, it's all stuff that comes with Linux." And like I said, we were with Lumix for 3 years. If you Google Salazar and Lumix, probably the first hit will be me and my partner Mike Ricksecker. We were on it was kind of cool when we launched this. Desktop Linux was still evolving, but we got slashdotted. That was fun. Our server crashed. What's going on? I got all these emails from Africa and Indonesia. It's like, wow, this is kind of cool. I'm world famous. There's even an article translated into German. Google Salazar und Lumix. You'll find this. It's been a very pleasant experience. It's just fun. I can't describe how much fun it is working in a Linux environment. It really feels like freedom. It's free not just in speech or ear, but it's free as in dumb. You got to be dumb not to know about Linux. I think our battle here is really one of the media, because you never see it covered anywhere. You got to be a university student or a geek who loves computers to know anything about it. And I think that's unfortunate, because think about it. There's an operating system that you can run from a CD, and while you're working with it, using it, you could be installing it too. Yeah. What's not to love about something like that? Any questions, comments? Yes?
I come from a good sized public library as well. I come from a good-sized public library as well, and one of the things that keeps us from moving in this direction is customer expectation, right? That the customer's coming in and expecting to be able to use the same applications that they use in various versions at home, right? You know, they maybe have Word 97 at home, or but you know, their expectation is that they can bring their document in, work on it, save it without any extra mojo, bring it back home and still use it. And so it seems like it might be a little work intensive to make that work in this scenario.
We've had Groovy, which does OpenOffice 2.0, on the floor for 6 months now, at all the branches. And we did the migration because it was in the news and everything. We were going to go to Groovy and blah, blah, blah. So it was like Thursday. The PR people picked Thursday for our go-live day, and all the branches all at once. So from Lumix to Groovix, overnight from Wednesday night to Thursday. If you're a system admin, think about the complications there. Okay? But you know, we were running Linux already. We had free space on the hard drives. So I just sent a script out there, you know, reformatting or adding a partition, putting Groovix on that, changing the menu.list file, and in the morning, on Thursday morning, they all booted into Groovy. All we had to do was add printers. But we were ready. I mean, we did that during the day on Wednesday. I did that, basically by myself. 300 computers. I wrote the scripts and everything, imaged them during the day on Wednesday, overnight, into Thursday morning. And I knew I would have to quit if it wasn't ready. So I kind of stayed up late that night. But I went to bed at 1, and I said, okay, machines, you just do what you need to do. I'll see you in the morning. Went to bed, woke up, and they were all Groovies. People come in, you know, 6-year-old people, you know, kids come in. They just sit down, start IMing, you know, 10-year-old kids. They play RuneScape. People come in with their documents on a USB drive, open it right up. We have a little how-to page that, you know, if they're a little wary, how do I save to USB? How do I, you know, we have OpenOffice defaulted to the predominant Microsoft document formats, which is unfortunate, but we got to do that. Maybe someday in the future, you know, we won't need that. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm really hoping that Vista will die. You know, hasta la vista, you know. I'm sorry, I'm one of those people. I hate Microsoft. I mean, I hate them for what they've done to the computer world, to the internet, you know, the Internet Exploder, all that code that's written, that you got to break your code so that it'll work in Internet Explorer. I hate that stuff. So, you know, don't ask me about the Redmond group. But it's been, I mean, our computers are like almost solidly used. And people come in, they just sit right down and start using it. I don't even think they know what they're using. But we have Opera, we have Firefox. I've seen people using Opera to change the browsers. So it hasn't been as hard as, we trained our staff first. We told them, this is Linux. It's an open source operating system. And so we did some teaching about 6 months of, you know, preparation for our information desk people, so that they would be able to answer questions. But 99% of the time, there's no problems out there. Any other questions?
Do you have any facility for managing patron reservations? Kind of, you know, limiting how much time they have at a PC if you have a lot of patrons queued up?
No, we don't have that, but our vendor says he could write something. I mean, we could do that. We don't have a need for it in our branch, in most of our branches. Some branches we do. So they do it the old-fashioned way. They take, you know, they have a piece of paper and take down names. And That's how they manage PC reservation. But there's stuff out there that, you know, there's Open Kiosk, I think, that does something like that, that works in KDE environment. But we're using GNOME, so. But as more and more people, I hope, start using Linux, things like that will get written. I don't imagine that'd be that hard to do. That's a good point, though.
As usual, Bess gets the last question.
Last question.
I was just wondering about the privacy implications of looking at HackerJohn. I mean, does your library have a privacy policy in place? Is there a click-through agreement? What kind of steps are you taking around that?
Actually, I got clearance to do it, just word of mouth, but we figured, hey, we're a public library. You know, we have our computer use policy that states that, you know, anything you know, do on our computers is susceptible to eavesdropping. I mean, not just by the good guys, but by the bad guys too. We have Wi-Fi. So, no, but we're looking at that, you know, we haven't implemented the monitoring thing yet because we're waiting for a policy, you know, on that. But to me, I wouldn't do anything in a public library that I wouldn't expect it to be monitored some way, whether through proxy or, you know, information gathering.
No, that makes good sense. I guess I was just wondering about what the user's expectation of privacy is and whether you had any kind of information that you're giving them about that.
That's a good point. And we don't have, I mean, we don't have this turned on. I have to actually log into that box and do X11B and C back to me. But no, we thought about that issue, and we just figured, you know, if you come to the library and are dumb enough to do your taxes or your online banking information, you know, probably giving you a warning wouldn't do anything. But it's just Maryland. I don't know. We're kind of like a communist country. I think for your time. I think of my time.